Welcome back. We're covering Chapter 14, Stress, Lifestyle, and Health today. We're unpacking stress, that emotional freight train that your caveman brain treats like an actual saber-toothed tiger. We'll explore lifestyle choices, how stress interferes with your health, and some real solutions rooted in psychology. What is stress? It's defined as a process. When you appraise events as overwhelming or threatening to your well-being, your body responds with the fight or flight activation via the sympathetic nervous system and HPA axis. It can be eustress, motivation, or distress, numbing or danger, depending on your coping and mindset. Cognitive appraisal is how your brain evaluates stress like it's the judge on a game show. Is it a threat, a challenge, or just your inbox again? Cognitive appraisal was coined by Richard Lazarus. It's the mental process where you evaluate whether a situation is harmful, threatening, challenging, or none of the above. Just annoying, probably. The appraisal determines how your body and brain respond. It's not the event itself, but how you interpret it that triggers the stress. Primary appraisal, is this a big deal? You assess whether a situation is benign, positive, example, free pizza, irrelevant, example, someone else's drama, or stressful, example, a final exam, a surprise presentation, that weird noise your car is making. If you deem it stressful, you move to secondary appraisal. Can I handle this? Now you ask, what are my coping options? Do I have the time, energy, skill, or emotional bandwidth? Is crying in the supply closet viable? If your answer is yes, I got this, you experience challenge stress. If it's nope, I'm doomed, you get threat stress, also known as the kind that ages you faster than presidential terms. Here is a diagram, kind of a visual, to help you understand it a little bit further. While you're taking a look at that, I will give you some examples. So you get called into your boss's office unexpectedly. You think, I'm getting fired. That's a primary appraisal, which equals threat and results in a cortisol party. If you think, maybe I'm getting promoted, that's a primary appraisal. It equals a challenge and a motivation surge. If you think maybe they need help setting up their Zoom again, that would be a primary appraisal that equals irrelevant and results in no stress, just pity. As I stated earlier, eustress is the positive kind of stress that can motivate you, and distress is the bad kind of stress that can ultimately result in illnesses. Stressors fueling the beast. Acute is single events, chronic is ongoing strain, even daily hassles add up. So traffic jams, tech glitches, and mini meltdowns. Appraisal affects your physiological response, your heart rate, your muscle tension, your immune suppression. It also shapes emotional reactions, anxiety versus motivation, despair versus determination. Your coping strategies stem directly from how you perceive the situation. Health psychology is the study of how biological, psychological, and social factors influence health and illness. Yes, it's biopsychosocial, not just biological. So instead of here's a pill, it's also what are your stress levels, lifestyle habits, support system, and deepest emotional fears. Health psychologists help with illness prevention, behavior change, coping with chronic illness, understanding patient behavior, bridging the know I should but I don't gap. Health is more than the absence of disease. You can be disease-free and still feel like garbage. Behavior plays a major role. Think smoking, exercise, diet, sleep, stress. And this all impacts all demographics. Here's some charts from from 2012 that depict the mean stress levels among different demographic years during the 1983, 2006, and 2009. Now we're going to talk about some early contributions to the study of stress. Walter Cannon was an American physiologist from 1871 to 1945. He was a pioneer in homeostasis and stress physiology. Basically, he was the guy who made your fight or flight response Instagram famous before Instagram existed. He was studying digestion in the early 1900s when he noticed, hey, animals under threat do this really weird full body panic thing. What's up with that? The answer was adrenaline, and boom, the fight or flight response was born. This term was coined by Cannon in 1915, and it's your body's automatic response to a perceived threat. When you see danger, sympathetic nervous system activates. Adrenaline, noradrenaline get pumped into your bloodstream. Your heart rate spikes, pupils dilate, digestion halts. Your body prepares to either punch the threat or run like your gym teacher is chasing you. This response is immediate, involuntary, great for avoiding saber-toothed tigers, less helpful when the tiger is a passive-aggressive email. Here's a visual that shows what your body goes through when it feels that it's threatened by a stressor. Cannon's work laid the foundation for modern stress research, Hans Selye's general adaptation syndrome, the field of health psychology, understanding psychosomatic illness, and that feeling when someone says, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" So the next time your palms sweat during a Zoom presentation, thank Walter Cannon for explaining why your body still thinks it's being hunted. He didn't invent stress, he just made it make sense. Hans Selye, the Hungarian-Canadian endocrinologist who gave us the general adaptation syndrome, or as I like to call it, why your body throws a tantrum when life won't chill out. He lived from 1907 to 1982. He was considered the father of stress research. He accidentally discovered stress while trying to identify a new hormone. He found that lab rats injected with anything, including just being handled, developed ulcers, enlarged adrenal glands, and shrunken thymus glands. Science translation, stress was making the rats fall apart. Soleil said, hey, maybe humans do this too. Spoiler alert, they do. GAS, or General Adaptation Syndrome, not just an unfortunate acronym, it's a three-stage model of the body's stressor response. Alarm reaction, the body detects a stressor, and that equals the fight or flight kicking in. Your body goes code red, dumps adrenaline, and freaks out helpfully. The resistance stage, the stress continues, your body adjusts but stays on high alert. You're coping, barely, possibly powered by coffee and Sprite. Exhaustion stage, you've been stressed too long, and the body's resources are depleted. Welcome to burnout. Immune system, weak. Energy, gone. Motivation, ha. And here are the three stages in a visual form for you to view. Why did Soleil's work matter? He helped medical professionals understand how chronic stress damages health. He introduced the idea that psychological stress equals physical consequences. And he inspired decades of research in health psychology, neuroscience, and workplace wellness programs that no one uses, but everyone pretends to like. Hans Selye didn't invent stress, but he gave it structure and gave us permission to admit it's not just in our head, it's also in our hormones. We're heading now into your body's stress control room, where your autonomic nervous system acts like the drama queen it was born to be. So you perceive a threat. You see a bear or a deadline or your ex at Starbucks. Your brain goes, this is dangerous, panic now. And the whole system lights up like an airport runway. The hypothalamus, the tiny general in your brain, activates two major systems. Sympathetic nervous system, this is the fast track. It's your fight or flight express lane. Pupils dilate, heart races, breathing quickens, digestion hits the brakes, muscles tense. Sweat glands activate because nothing says prepared for danger like being slick with panic. This is Walter Cannon's famous contribution. The HPA axis, or hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, is a slow burn stress response. If SNS is your panic attack, the HPA axis is your ongoing dread. Hypothalamus sends CRH, or corticotropin releasing hormone. The pituitary gland sends ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, and the adrenal glands release cortisol. Cortisol is your body's long-term stay alert hormone. It raises glucose, suppresses the immune system, and basically tells your body, don't rest, there's danger. It's awesome for running from bears, less awesome for chronic emails, finals week, or parenting toddlers. High cortisol equals weakened immunity, increased risk of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes, sleep ruined, memory impaired, mood volatile, sex drive gone on vacation without leaving a note. Basically, your body's natural alarm system becomes the annoying smoke detector that beeps every time you toast spread. And that's the long-term damage of chronic stress. So the next time your body panics because your browser crashes mid-presentation, remember, evolution gave you this system to survive lions, not LinkedIn. Stressors can be big, small, and petty enough to derail your whole day. Stressors, because your body doesn't care if it's a death in the family or a traffic on a Tuesday, it just reacts. Events so intense they threaten your life, safety, or sense of reality defines traumatic events. Think natural disasters, war, assault, severe accidents. Surviving finals week might feel like this, but doesn't technically count. These stressors can lead to PTSD, where your body keeps reliving the trauma even when it's long over. The HPA axis goes haywire, and your stress response becomes the guest who never leaves. Life changes are significant shifts in your personal circumstances, good or bad. It can include marriage, divorce, moving, starting college, having a child, losing a job, getting promoted into a job you immediately regret. Holmes and Ray even made a scale for this. Spoiler, even happy changes like weddings cause stress. Why? Because your brain hates change and likes routine, even when your routine is miserable. Daily hassles are the tiny, constant annoyances that slowly chip away at your will to live. It includes lost keys, traffic jams, a partner who loads the dishwasher wrong, that one student who emails, "What did I miss?" after skipping a week. They seem harmless individually, but cumulatively, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts, and your blood pressure agrees. Other stressors, also known as the "it's complicated" category, include occupational stress, so a bad boss, unrealistic workload, never-ending Zooms. Discrimination, including racism, sexism, homophobia, chronic, damaging, and sadly widespread. Also includes financial strain, the modern version of survive the winter. Interpersonal conflict, arguments with family, roommates, or people on Facebook who somehow found your last nerve. Basically, if it makes your stomach knot, keeps you awake at night, or causes you to Google how to disappear, it qualifies. Stressors don't all show up with dramatic flair. Sometimes they wear hoodies and sneak in through daily life. But whether it's a trauma, a life shift, or just trying to find parking, your body still registers it like danger. Stress can damage us in many ways and impact our health. Chronic stress damages the immune system, fewer lymphocytes, higher infection risk. Think colds during finals week. It's also linked to psychophysiological disorders like hypertension, asthma, ulcers, tension headaches. And there are strong ties to cardiovascular disease and accelerated cellular aging via telomeres. We're diving into the tangled passive-aggressive relationship between stress and your health. Spoiler alert, your body holds grudges. Psychophysiological disorders. These are actual medically measurable diseases where stress is a contributing or exacerbating factor. Some examples are hypertension, IBS, migraines, heart disease, ulcers. Kind of. Stress doesn't cause them, but it loves making them worse. Basically, your mind freaks out and your body gets the eviction notice. Chronic stress releases cortisol, and cortisol is basically your immune system's least favorite coworker. Short bursts, helpful. Constant stress suppresses immune function. The result, you're sick all the time and blaming the air conditioning like a fool. Fun fact, stress reduces lymphocytes, the little immune warriors. Fewer soldiers, more colds. Coincidence? No. It's your body yelling at you in viral form. This graph is a study in 1998, and participants who reported experiencing chronic stressors for more than 1 month were more likely to develop colds than those who reported no chronic stress. Stress and aging. This was a study from 2012, and it shows that telomeres are shorter in adults who experience more trauma as children. Cardiovascular disorders. Stress hits your heart like it's trying to collect rent. Increased blood pressure, narrowed arteries, higher cholesterol, risk of heart attack and stroke skyrockets. It's like your stress and your cardiovascular system got into a toxic relationship, and your arteries are the ones getting ghosted. It's important to note that males and females often experience different symptoms of a heart attack. And you can see here in this visual what is common for males and what is common for females. Personality types. Type A is competitive, time urgent, hostile. Basically the human version of a Red Bull. Research shows hostility is the real heart attack culprit here, not just being punctual. Type B is more laid back, less likely to yell at printers or traffic. Their hearts thank them. Moral of the story, be driven, but don't try to murder your steering wheel when someone cuts you off. And here's a visual of the transactional model of hostility. Hostile person's thoughts and feelings are anger, mistrust, devalues others. They're hostile towards the other person, confrontational, defensive, and aggressive. The recipient is surprised, avoids, and is defensive. And then the transactional cycle is that the perpetrator's behavior is reinforced, so the hostile behavior continues. Depression in the heart. It turns out your mood isn't just in your head. Depression increases risk of heart disease. People with heart disease are almost more likely to develop depression. It's a vicious loop. Your brain breaks your heart and your heart returns the favor, because apparently feelings do live in the chest cavity. Who knew? Asthma. Stress doesn't cause asthma, but it's the life of the asthma attack party. Stress equals inflamed airways. More inflammation equals harder to breathe. Cue the wheezing symphony. Bonus, panic about not being able to breathe causes even more stress. A beautiful, gasping feedback loop. Here's a visual of those airways in an asthmatic. Coping styles. The behavioral toolkit you whip out when stress shows up uninvited, usually wearing a name tag that says Tuesday. Coping is the mental, emotional, and behavioral effort to manage demands that are perceived as taxing or exceeding your resources. In normal terms, how do you not lose your mind when life gets extra? There are two main categories, and these were coined by Lazarus and Folkman in 1984. Problem-focused coping, which is trying to fix the problem, make a to-do list, ask for help, negotiate the conflict, cancel your entire calendar, and pretend it's strategy. It's effective when the situation can be changed, but useless if the stressor is out of your control. For example, weather, other people's behavior, the end of Game of Thrones. Emotion-focused coping is trying to manage your reaction to the problem. Vent to a friend, meditate, cry, scream into a mug, watch 6 hours of comfort TV. Pretend you're not mad until you burst into tears over lukewarm coffee. This is best when the situation can't be changed. May become avoidance if used exclusively. Coping strategies. Problem-focused is target the issue, hire a tutor, reorganize work. Emotion-focused is manage your reactions, so mindfulness and social buffering. Perceived control is feeling you can influence outcomes, which improves resilience. Social support is selecting a community isn't an option. It's vital for buffering stress. Healthy habits aren't just nice, they reduce stress impact. Physical activity, lower stress reactivity, balanced nutrition, adequate sleep, and avoidance of harmful habits like smoking, binge eating, chronic screen time can go a long way towards emotional stability. Learned helplessness was termed by Seligman. It's an acquired belief that one is powerless to do anything about a situation. And in this situation, people feel a lot more stress because they don't feel like they have control over the situation. Pursuit of happiness. Happiness isn't optional. It's built through positive mindset, engagement, and meaning. Well-being strengthens you physiologically and psychologically. Here's a quick reminder. Stress isn't your fault, but the tools to manage it are in your hands. From reframing problems to regular movement, from stronger connections to true rest, small changes equal big impact. Let's talk about why humans obsess over it, how psychologists try to measure it, and what flow is, besides the name of your oddly calm yoga instructor. So what is the pursuit of happiness? What is happiness? Happiness is a subjective state of well-being, your personal sense that life is satisfying, meaningful, or at least mildly tolerable. Surveys have shown that in the world, Denmark has the happiest citizens in the world. Americans ranked the US as the 17th happiest country in which to live. It's not just about momentary pleasure, though cupcakes help. It's about life satisfaction, positive emotions being greater than negative ones, and a sense of purpose, not just surviving Monday. Researchers often refer to this as subjective well-being because Joy Juice didn't pass peer review. Continuing on with life events and happiness. This graph shows life satisfaction scores several years before and after three significant life events: marriage, death of a spouse, and unemployment. This shows that long-term levels can and do change for some people. Positive psychology is the feel-good cousin of traditional psychology, founded by Martin Seligman, who got tired of studying everything that's wrong with people and said, hey, what if we study what makes them awesome instead? He focused on gratitude, optimism, forgiveness, meaning and purpose, and character strengths. It's not toxic positivity. It's not just smile through the trauma. It's scientifically grounded strategies to build mental fitness, not just treat mental illness. Positive affect and optimism promote psychological well-being. Positive affect is the pleasurable engagement with the environment. So feeling happy, joyful, enthusiastic, alert, excited. And that's been shown to be associated with greater social connectedness, emotional and practical support, adaptive coping efforts, lower depression, longevity, and favorable physiological functioning. Optimism is the general tendency to look on the bright side of things. So looking at a cup as half full. Tendency to expect that good things will happen. They view life stressors and difficulties as temporary and not internalized in them. And significant predictor of positive health outcomes is optimism. Flow was coined by Csikszentmihalyi, a mental state where you're so fully immersed in an activity that time fades, self-consciousness vanishes, and your brain becomes a laser beam of focus. Some examples are playing music, rock climbing, deep work, art, coding, gaming, dancing like no one's watching, but they probably are. Conditions for flow include a clear goal, immediate feedback, skill level equals challenge level, no distractions. So probably not email. It's the gold standard of engagement and it feels amazing. It's not just productivity, it's brain ecstasy. How to actually be happier according to research. Practice gratitude. Connect socially. No, lurking on social media doesn't count. Exercise. Yeah, I know. Sleep well. Yes, again. Live with purpose. Give more than you take. Chase flow, not followers. And surprisingly, money only helps up to a point. After your basic needs are met, more cash doesn't mean more joy. It just means fancier stress. So no, happiness isn't permanent. It is something you earn once and keep like a gym membership you forgot to cancel. It's practice, a mindset, a flow state waiting for a reason to show up. That's it for chapter 14. See you next time.